Hi there everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to my channel. Amongst other things, I'm a reenactor and a jouster, but those things often go hand in hand with being quite a big nerd, especially when it comes to things like fantasy books and films. So this week, I want to talk to you about The Fellowship of the Ring. I wasn't sure which scene to go for, but I thought this might be a good one. In case you haven't seen the film, or if you haven't seen it in a long while, this is where Arwen takes Frodo to try and escape the Ringwraiths, and she's riding to Rivendell. One of the things that always gets me in films is whenever someone needs to move fast on a horse, they're always shown galloping, really, really high speed, which is fine over a short distance. But in a previous scene, we're told that they're 6 days away from Rivendell. Now, that's probably 6 days at a hobbit's walking pace, so not quite 6 days on horseback, probably closer to 3 to 2 days. The problem is, if you were to gallop, gallop is basically the horse's version of sprinting, so actually your horse is going to get absolutely worn out really quickly if you're galloping. There's another movie called Hidalgo, which actually includes Viggo Mortensen, and he makes that point, the character, that if you're doing a long distance race on a horse, then actually going slower is a better thing to do, and you'll end up conserving your energy and get there faster in the end. One of the things that I didn't really appreciate when I was younger is just how tricky some of this riding is. The stunt woman who's playing Arwen in this scene really impressed everyone, and Viggo Mortensen actually bought her that horse that she did all of that training with. Actually, when you're at a canter, getting the horse to change direction that quickly is quite difficult, and that's why in the medieval period the tournament, the club tournament and the melee was actually considered a more difficult and trickier game than the joust, because all of these turns and pivots and avoiding the enemy was very difficult to do, especially if you're carrying extra weight. A medieval knight would be carrying armor, and of course Arwen here is carrying Frodo. So let's just pause for a second and talk about the armor, because I don't know if you know this, but they had several reenactors actually working in the design team, John Howe being a key member of the pre-production team. And he's quite an incredible artist, but also a great historian, and he's worn some original pieces as well. And I think that's just so important to have people involved in the design from the very beginning who not only know what armor can look like to look cool and be interesting, but also have a key understanding of what it's like to wear it and how it works and that sort of thing. And this allowed them to go in really close on the armor once it had been made. They were able to get close-ups, and the armor looks like it works, and it does work because it's based on real examples, even though it's a fantasy. So I think that's just incredible. Now we come to the end of this little chase scene, and if you're aware of the books, then this is a bit of the entire scene is a bit of a departure from the books. For a start, Arwen isn't supposed to be in this scene at all. It's supposed to be an elf lord called Glorfindel. But I think this change actually works really well compared to maybe some changes that might have happened in other films based on similar books. This change, I think, works well because there's already an awful lot of characters in The Lord of the Rings, and to add in another elf lord who is extremely powerful and able to face down the 9 Ringwraiths is difficult to explain in a film. First of all, it's difficult for people to remember who he is compared to some of the other maybe similar characters. Secondly, it's difficult to explain why they didn't send him on the quest. That was one of my big questions when reading the books, even, is, why not send Glorfindel? He's so awesome. So just bringing in a character just for one scene who we then never see again and kind of raises more questions than he answers is difficult to do in a film. And in many ways, actually, Tolkien actually had to go back and write appendices to explain away these characters coming in and disappearing later. So that's one reason why I think this is a good change in here. Another thing that maybe isn't explained here is, why does Arwen stop here at the fords to allow the Ringwraiths to catch up? In the books, it's explained that the Ringwraiths don't like to cross running water. This is one of the classic kind of undead tropes from mythology, and Tolkien included this. But something that maybe some people don't know, and it seems that maybe Arwen didn't know in this scene, is that when the Witch King, the leader of the Ringwraiths, is there, they're actually more afraid of him than they are of water. So here, although they stop, once the Witch King joins them, they're able to cross. So that's where Arwen gets a little bit worried and uses some of her elven magic to get rid of them. Now, again, this is a bit of a departure from in the books. In the books, it wasn't Arwen, or in fact Glorfindel, that caused this magic. It was actually Elrond and Gandalf back at Rivendell that created this flash flood and washed the Ringwraiths away. Actually, at this point, I believe Frodo's actually on the horse by himself, so he couldn't have created the magic anyway. I think this actually, again, just like not including Glorfindel, this works really well. It streamlines the story rather than makes the story more, longer and more confusing. And I think this sort of thing, when adapting a book, especially a very long book like Lord of the Rings, doing things to help the audience understand is a lot better than adding in some convoluted details that actually raise more questions than they actually answer. Thanks very much for watching. Please do like, share and subscribe, all of that good stuff. And I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye-bye.